Good morning.
Morning. Dancing to our theme song.
You can't bait me into criticizing that.
I can't bait you into being happy, cheery, peppy, go lucky.
It's my default. No doubt. Thank you for being right up on the microphone. I'm sure everybody appreciates it.
Yeah, listen, Joe thinks I need to eat this microphone. So if I am blowing out anyone's...
You're really loud.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's
if I'm
good.
blowing out anyone's eardrums, that's Joe.
You are set at the same audio level as I am. And I'm on the mic the way that I should be.
I'd love to know, over the last several weeks, has anyone watched this show and not been able to hear me? I could sit here and you can hear me.
No, constant complaints about, like, we can barely hear Kelin. She's whispering. We can't have that.
That's not true. I'm being gaslighted here, and I'd love for someone to comment and say, I hear Kelin just fine on a regular basis.
What's on your brain? Bring it.
I'm excited about something.
Okay.
Have you heard about comedian Matt Rife purchasing Ed and Lorraine Warren's house? You know anything about that? Okay. So anyone who somehow does not know who Ed and Lorraine Warren were, if you've ever seen the movie The Conjuring, there's like a horror film franchise, The Conjuring, Annabelle doll, all of that centers around this couple, Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were real people. I think Lorraine just died recently, like in the last year or two. Mm-hmm. Her husband died maybe a few years before her. They claim to be psychic mediums. They worked with, they worked in this realm of fighting like demons and evil spirits and things of that nature. And people would call them when they thought they had cases of demonic possession in people and homes and things like that. And they would collect different artifacts from their different cases. One of which was the Annabelle doll. A lot of people know about that one because they made a movie about this doll that's supposedly possessed by evil spirits and all these different things that are haunted, supposedly, that they have taken from different cases of researching and experimenting in and working in the paranormal. Well, they have a house with a room and they have locked all of these items away because apparently demons can't get out of glass cases or something. I don't know. In this locked room. Well, recently, maybe a couple weeks ago, there was a story that went viral because a paranormal researcher suddenly and mysteriously died while touring with the Annabelle doll. Mm-hmm. Obviously, could be a coincidence. I don't know, but he died. It was in the news. He's now gone, and we just found out that comedian Matt Rife and a good buddy of his have purchased Ed and Lorraine Warren's house and are now the legal guardians, not owners, but legal guardians and keepers of all of their haunted artifacts, this museum they call it, including the Annabelle doll. And their goal, this is where I get excited, their goal is to, in the future, offer tours and people the ability to stay over in the Warren house around these artifacts. Would you go?
Every day, a new brain dead person is born.
Listen, you go ghost hunting all the time.
Right. To disprove the bullshit is what I do.
So would you go and disprove that the Annabelle doll is anything other than just a doll?
And for free, I would absolutely go, and I would totally obliterate all of the insanity that is that belief.
Have you seen the Conjuring films?
Yeah.
So you know, like, about that room and everything.
Yeah.
And the doll, and
right.
Which in the movie they make it way creepier. It's like this really scary looking doll.
Of that is scammy.
Oh, of course it is.
Okay. All right. Just
definitely is.
Want to make sure that.
Yeah.
So if Joe said that this is the luckiest chalice in the land, right? And I billed people $5 to come into this room and touch the chalice, right? Mm-hmm. You and I would know that it's just a coffee mug that keeps my iced coffee cold. But everybody else would have a strict belief that somehow this chalice, and there would be people who came in here and shortly after touching the chalice had great things happen to them. And we would ultimately connect it to the chalice, which would attract more people that allow me to charge $5 to touch the chalice of awesomeness, right? Mm-hmm. At some point in there, statistics and probabilities would have to come in play, right?
Yeah.
And somebody, even though it's fun to think the chalice is going to change your life, scientifically, it would be a real haul for you to attribute the chalice with the good happenings, right?
Mhm.
You need a control group, people who didn't touch the chalice, same amount of people having the same state of mind, and good things happen to them too. Maybe it wasn't about the freaking chalice at all. So yes, horse shit, money-making opportunity, Matt Rife, great investment because you have a bunch of zealots that are going to go out and claim that demonic possession happens with these inanimate objects, and they are completely now tortured. Okay, so it makes sense if good luck comes from touching my chalice. But what good can come of you going into a room and getting demonic possession or bad things happening? That is the insanity.
Yeah.
That is human being.
And I think to me, the reason it's so popular is because people don't believe. Like, if I truly believed in demons and demonic possession and the ability for
why
these
would you
demons,
do it? Why would you?
I wouldn't go if I really believed it.
Into the thrill of something you don't believe in. I don't
Would
understand
you
that.
go and see The House from A Christmas Story in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Why?
Nostalgia.
Right. It's a movie you like, you grew up watching. It would be so cool to say I went to that house.
Yeah.
I like the Conjuring films. I like the actors in those films. I would go say, hey, I went to Ed and Lorraine's house.
That is not zealotry. That is not the belief.
I would not believe I'm going to be possessed by a demon.
If you went to the Christmas Story house and you believed it was true, and you went there to experience the Christmas Story because you believed in the fabrication that was a movie, then I would say you're a freaking moron.
Like, I thought Ralphie actually lived there. And
if you went to the Amityville Horror House and you believed that you were going to be crushed by the house and it was going to consume your soul, you're a freaking moron. But if you're like, oh, this is kind of a movie, I get to stand in the same room that I saw these great theatrical performance depicted, then that is a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, ooh, I touched this doll that is so famous and they made movies about it and everybody says it's haunted, but it's just a doll.
Just a freaking doll.
It's a well-known thing. Yeah.
Moron.
It's a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yes.
Did you know that? Like, in the movie, they make it this creepy freaking porcelain, scary looking thing. I'm like, that's not at all what it is.
Right.
But you don't know. Like, I told my husband about this. I saw the video and I sent it and he's like, I said, so you wouldn't go? He's like, no, and you're not going.
Hello? Hello?
Who is it?
I don't know. Hello?
Is it Annabelle?
Is this Annabelle?
No. Show King. This is Anna.
Annie. Ani. It's on.
I don't know.
Ani
it changes every 5 minutes.
I know.
But yeah, if I truly believed in that stuff and that I had the ability to be like overcome by evil spirits, obviously I wouldn't go nowhere near that. But I don't. I think it's cool. It's exciting. Like Halloween time, I go to haunted houses in the area. I don't actually believe they're haunted. I know they're actors in makeup and masks, but it's thrilling. It's fun.
It's perfect. I ride roller coasters. I know what I'm getting into, and I enjoy the thrill that's there. That's all it is. It's an amusement park ride.
So you would go to the Warrens' house and see their artifacts
if it added a thrill. And I have.
Don't you think it would add a thrill?
I don't. Not in this moment.
What if you went and something happened? Would you be like,
you're a secret zealot. I know you are. I know you want the mysteriousness of demonic possession and demon possession.
I mean, I don't want that on me, but if it's real, I want to know.
And that's why I say the zealots find the thrill in secretly believing that inanimate objects can carry some kind of like demonic weight.
Yeah, like a friend of mine.
So you're half idiot, half very reasonable person.
I'll take that.
Okay.
Well, a friend of mine's going to see Matt Rife this weekend.
Yeah.
And I had sent him the video too. And I said, oh yeah, my husband won't let me go to this house. He's like, yeah, you don't want that bad juju bringing it to your home. I was like, Matt Rife's been in the house and touched the doll and been around these artifacts. So if the bad juju is a real thing, is it not on him? And you're going to go see him this weekend? And it's like, I'm like, so clearly you don't believe that that's a thing.
No, the devil protects the host. Like that's the deal. Like the host never gets consumed, their soul, right? Their job is just to purvey and get more people in there. So Matt's protected. If you believe in the mysticism.
I don't know if that's how that
demonic.
works.
No, I have personal
You've researched it.
Total research.
I get it. I don't know. If I could go, if it were simple and inexpensive, I would consider it.
No, listen. Is more Matt Rife than it is Annabelle Dahl. Okay? You are a white, middle-aged woman.
Yeah, if Matt Rife's going to be there.
And so he attaches. It's almost like Sydney Sweeney says, I bought a house and you can do tours of it. How many people were there because of the tour of the house? And how many people were there because it's Sydney Sweeney's big boobs house?
Yeah, people buy her bath water.
100%. So
no, it's less Matt Rife. No, it's more Ed and Lorraine Warren.
No, you have to admit that if it was anybody else, you would not be like seriously contemplating it.
If anybody else bought that home and said, "You're welcome to come see it," I would still want to.
I doubt it.
I would.
I think it's all about Matt Rife. No, I think it is.
100% not.
A huge attraction.
100%. Ed and Lorraine Warren is my biggest interest.
I think you're all in.
Scary stuff. Listen, if Matt Rife's going to be there, that is icing on the cake. I will admit that. That's a bonus.
Plane ticket. If Matt Rife was going to be there, would there be a plane ticket involved?
It would not matter if he was there or not. It would matter on how much does it cost, how convenient.
I'm doubting you. But you said it, so I'll believe you.
Matt Rife's going to be there. I think they're going to sell tickets. They're going to hire people to run this whole thing. They're going to have staff there that's doing it. And Matt Rife will sit back and collect his check while he's on his comedy tour. Yeah. I have no assumptions that I will in any way, shape, or form be around Matt Rife.
All right. Bob Smith buys this house. We're not even talking about this right now.
Not true.
True.
Not the reason I'm talking about it is because they're giving an opportunity for the general public to come in and see it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, yes. Okay.
Huge doubt, but I'll go with it. Go with it.
What if Matt Rife bought it with a partner? What if it's just his buddy, his partner, not him?
Then it wouldn't be important to even say that he bought it. It wouldn't even been a news article, no press release. Nobody would even paid attention to it. It'd have been just like
probably
Bob
not.
Smith.
Yeah, it's a celebrity who bought it, so that makes it even more interesting.
Some doll getting hawked to appeal to the public, and they depart with their money to see a doll that doesn't do anything.
The paranormal researcher that died, I can't even tell you his name.
Exactly. Yeah, you're bought in
Matt Rife
to the celebrity endorsement. Don't deny
listen, because he is a celebrity. I was fed the information. It came up on my social media, the algorithm, the People magazine coverage, the news coverage. Everybody got probably more coverage on it because it was a celebrity that bought this thing that had already been in the news. But I don't care. I'm just glad I saw the information, regardless of who owns it.
I'm not judging you. Don't get all defensive about the fact that you just want to go see an Annabelle doll because he's hot. Like.
No, it's because it's Ed and Lorraine Warren and the Annabelle doll.
I'm dismissing all of that. I'm saying it's not that. I'm putting that aside.
Listen,
it's all about the doll.
If Matt Rife purchased a house in Cleveland, I know I don't need a plane ticket. I don't even need a full day. I'll just go there and see this house.
Right.
Wouldn't put more energy into that than I would to go see this Ed and Lorraine house. I'd put more energy into Ed and Lorraine if a non-celebrity owned it.
So if Matt Rife bought a house in Cleveland and he wanted to display his unique vases from around the world, you'd be like,
don't care.
It's Matt Rife. I'm totally going to see it. I love vases.
No,
like vases.
I don't love vases. I would not go. I don't care who has it.
Okay.
Now listen, if it were Ryan Reynolds. No, I'm just kidding. I would.
All right. Howard Stern. Did you hear about this?
No.
So Howard Stern, he was a favorite of mine growing up. Like everybody.
Really?
You're driving around, you're listening to K-Rock in the morning, shock jocks, doing all kind of absurd things, totally entertaining. Like there's been times where I was listening to a segment that he had, and it was so captivating that I would stay in my truck and listen to the fulfillment of the segment rather than get out and do my job or doing whatever. So
that's good radio.
Loved it.
Time spent listening.
Okay. He found out that if he does something that's, beyond the status quo, he does something that's a little, little conflict there, a little controversial, that people would listen. And he made an entire name for himself in radio as being the shock jock who did not care about the FCC and would just do whatever he wanted to do. And people had lots of respect for someone who pushed against the machine. We love that. Later in life, K-Rock, he was very expensive personality, caused a lot of conflict for the radio stations that hosted him. And so Sirius XM Radio decided to buy out his contract, and he went completely satellite radio. So in order to listen to Howard Stern, you had to pay $60 a year to listen to Howard Stern. And for the short term, they paid him gobs of money, more than $100 million a year.
Holy crap.
To host a radio show and bring his entire audience to a satellite radio market that absolutely needed a headliner, right?
Yeah.
Totally filled that void, filled that role. New cars would come and they'd have a temporary subscription. People would listen to whatever, and then they would become subscribers. And that he made XM radio what it is today because of his audience. 15 years into the future now, his $100 million price tag it's not having the same effect. The subscribers aren't flocking to him.
We're jaded and not impressed anymore.
Because it's a one-trick pony, right? You've seen one. I'm not even a listener of his anymore. Now, here's what he did. He ruined his brand by getting political. It's no longer like Howard Stern's conflicted opinion for ratings. It's Howard Stern's self-important douchebag who using his platform to bash people over the head because of his political views.
Yeah.
That's where he lost his audience. So XM's like, you know what? You're too expensive. You are no longer a XM. Now, would a radio station pick him up because he still has a pretty credible audience that if they went to terrestrial radio, he could totally make money again? Sure. So it's not a dead career. But I love the fact that he was willing to trade $100 million a year for his political beliefs. And I think there's a lot of people who make self-sacrifice for a system that would never make the sacrifice back in their benefit.
Do you think he knowingly made the sacrifice, or he thought he was going to be bigger for it?
No. He thought that he was untouchable. His ego got the best of him.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And he's like, if you're an entertainer and your whole audience is your whole audience is in front of you, and you're like, there's some people in this audience I probably wouldn't like. So you have two choices: whether or not you still do your show and collect their dollars and don't care that they disagree with you, or you're so important that you want to alienate half the people that are in your audience and say, don't even listen to me, right? Like Pink is like, don't even listen to my music if you're a Republican and voted for Trump.
Pink has said that?
Pink has said that, yeah.
Oh, I've heard other bands say that, yeah.
I'm like, your manager and the recording, whoever you have your contract with, the recording company, your audience, your fans, whatever, you're willing to take half of them and totally sabotage your career because of your political views.
Yeah.
That is like a death knell. And I celebrate people failing because of that, because I think that's how it should be.
Yeah. I've even heard, I think it was it Red Jumpsuit Apparatus or some band recently said the same thing.
Right.
And I like them. And it's not even like I would get mad at someone for doing that because I was pro whatever candidate they were, bashing. Mine's just like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, even if I were totally on your side politically and I was totally supporting the same candidate you were, if you then publicly said, if you're not for this candidate, get out of here, I'd be like, what's your problem?
Yeah, I'm out. There's too many entertainers that are willing to entertain me without prerequisites. But once you become self-important, you're like, I can survive my political opinions. And that's when I want you to feel those decisions.
Yeah. I did see, it was a while ago. I don't even remember what he said, but I saw a clip of Howard Stern and he was going off about politics. And my first thought was like, dude, stay in your lane.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? That's so dumb. And yeah, I never really hear him. I think I saw he had Lady Gaga on one time and she was doing a version of a song I like. So I watched for that. Other than that, I'm like, I don't really care what he has to say.
Yeah, because it's sort of like entertainment rape, right? Because you're in the audience and because you're listening to them, they feel so self-important that since you're there, they're going to mentally rape you with whatever their messaging is, rather than reading their mission statement says, okay, I have a talent and the people in my audience, I'm going to do my best to make sure they leave my show entertained.
Yeah.
Right? That's your lane. That's the lane you're talking about. So when a NFL player or entertainer or an actor gets overtly political, they are willingly saying, I don't effing care about you being entertained anymore. It's because I held you hostage with your attention at this point. I'm going to mentally rape you and I'm going to tell you what I think you should feel. And they think they're doing justice because they obviously think they're right.
Yeah.
By trying to convert you into the zealotry that is their ego.
Yeah. And I even, I have another job where I'm on a radio station down in Georgia still. And I record out of my house, and anybody who's in radio knows that there are different, they call them like show prep sites, just websites you can go to see what's going on in the world, what's going on in entertainment, talk about some things that are happening. And this one site I always use, the first half of it is all like government, world headlines, things of that nature. And I'm always like, nope. And I go down to the entertainment one, because I'm there to entertain people and to make them feel good.
Right.
I don't want to talk about overly serious stuff.
Right.
And two, when it's political, I'm not about to bring something up that's going to be divisive and going to cause an argument and going to alienate people. I'm like, we're here to entertain, not just feed into the whole, let's continue to stir the pot and make people mad. And if your platform is for that, it's for that. But not everyone is.
It depends. It's a bait and switch. So let's just say I'm Matt Stone and Trey Parker, right? My goal is to piss everybody off. Yeah. It doesn't have to be always entertainment. If you became popular by doing X and you continue doing X, and everybody has expectations and no, right?
Yeah.
But if you got people in there to be entertained, and since you have their attention, that you switch the script and decide to go into your own diatribe and alienate those people, that's where if you were like, hey, come to the concert where we make you feel like shit and we pressure your views and we're not interested in your entertainment, we want you because you're captured.
Yeah.
Then it's equal, because then people who don't want that don't show up and they don't feel like they've been hoodwinked by whoever's on stage. So if you have Dixie Chicks were a good example of this. So I like the Dixie Chicks music. They were on my playlist. They made me feel good. The songs that they sang were good. They did all the things I wanted to do. I became a fan of the Dixie Chicks. And during the George W. Bush era, they decided that they were going to get uber political, right? And they even made songs about that. Right?
Yeah.
And then they got hammered by their country roots and massive conservative contingent inside their fan base, and they alienated them. So they didn't made a oh shit song, weepy song about how they're unfairly being judged and demonized by the people that they freaking alienated, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's freaking solid. But then I watched them as what they were complaining about during George W. Bush's era immediately dissolve when every other president that was a Democrat. So Obama could have done the exact same freaking thing. And all of a sudden, like if it's Matt Stone and Trey Parker, no matter who's president, they're going to impugn you. They're going to lampoon the shit out of you. And it doesn't matter who you are. So I'm there for that. You want to say that Trump has a small penis, right? As long as you say that Joe Biden is a Walking Dead character, I'm cool with that, because you're doing it to everybody. But the minute you're like, I'm going to make fun of Republicans and get all out of whack when it's a Republican, and then a Democrat, I'm going to lay cover fire down and I'm not going to make any songs. So Green Day, or no, not Green Day. What's
I think Green Day, they definitely got political.
Yeah. What's the September Ends song?
That's Green Day.
Was it Green Day?
Yeah. Wake Me Up When September Ends.
All of a sudden they don't have a problem with presidents after the one they were, targeting. Like, that's insincere.
Well, if you were at a concert and it was a band you loved and you'd been dying to see and you listened to for years, and when you were at that concert, they said something like that.
Dead to me.
They were like, get out if you vote for so-and-so.
Immediately dead to me.
Would you leave?
Leave. I would leave.
God, that would be so So
The
disappointing.
stay in your lane thing is a real thing. There was actually a guitarist, and I don't remember what band they were from, but it was profiled on X over the weekend, and he lifted his guitar and it said some anti-Trump message, right? And all of the feedback was stay in your lane, shut up and play your guitar. And that is the absolute wisdom that musicians and artists, because you don't see, with rare exception, you don't go see a musician or an artist for their political beliefs. You're not like, I wonder what they're feeling today, right?
Yeah.
We're not looking for that. We're there for the freaking
They're
music.
like, oh, I can't think or make up a decision on my own. Maybe my hero, this musician, can tell me how to think.
Right.
And
exactly.
who should I be for?
Very few exceptions are showing up for that. We want to be entertained. We want to hear the songs that we like. You are an operator. You can play that guitar really well. You can sing really well. You're a certain, whatever. It's almost like if Sydney Sweeney.
I was just going to use that as an example. Yeah.
All right. Was sitting one day and say, why do people like me? Right.
Yeah.
And you poll 100 of your fans and say, you're really good to look at. Your boobs are perfect. Like whatever your prowesses are, you make a list of why people like you. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing those things and make my paycheck and satisfy the fans that showed up because of what I presented. And then I'm like, you know what? These people didn't say that they wanted to know what my feed was on economics, right? But since they're here, I am going to go belligerent on what I think economics are. And you're going to watch all the people who are like, came here for boobs. It's talking about economics. I'm out. And then say, oh, aghast. How dare Sydney Sweeney, right?
Yeah.
I turned my back on Sydney Sweeney because instead of showing me more boobs, she showed me economic theories, right? She starts talking Milton Friedman.
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time before she's asked about her political opinion in an interview.
Right.
Because her whole American Eagle ad has become so politicized. And I'm like,
if she were smart,
girl,
what would she say? What would she say?
She'd say, I'm not talking about that.
Exactly. Stay
like
out
I was in an
of
ad
the lane
period.
to suffer.
Yes.
So when NBA players and NFL players were taking a knee for politics, right? The audience is there to see you do something. What do you think it's for your political persuasions, or do you think it's because you're an athlete at the pinnacle of what athletes even are, right? Or what it is to be an athlete. You're at the pinnacle. I want to see that. I don't give two shits what you care about breast cancer or what you care about racism or what you care about the president or anything else. Can you shoot it in the hoop? Can you catch a pass? Can you take a big hit from a defender? That's what I'm there for. And the minute that you go off script and think that you're more important than you are dead to me, period.
Yeah. And I felt that a couple years ago. My husband and I got really into this show. Have you ever seen the show Grace and Frankie?
Yeah.
It's Jane Fonda and Lily.
Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin.
Okay. All right. Can I write the script?
Yeah. So I did not know much about those two actresses when we got into this show. And it was a lovely show. It made us laugh out loud. I thought it was adorable. It was very entertaining. I liked the characters. And I was talking to somebody and I was like, oh my gosh, you've got to check out this show, Grace and Frankie. It's the cutest show. If you want a feel-good watch, start binging it. And someone's like, oh, I don't do Jane Fonda because of her political views. And I went,
yes.
Do I have to let that ruin the show? And now it's like, no, I don't know how to feel. Like, I love it when I find a show and then the actor goes and does some sort of like outspoken whatever about something. And I have to be like, oh.
But there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity that there is an actor that's in a show that's not a self-absorbed narcissist that doesn't show their political that you're not watching right now. It gives you the opportunity to find people who aren't total douchebags and give them your attention. Bail on the self-absorbed narcissist and go for the humble people who are just there to entertain you. That's what needs to happen.
Have you ever seen an actor on a show like The View, for example, where they're trying to bait an actor to say something political? And they're just like
a thing of beauty.
I think it was Matthew McConaughey was like, I'm not even going to justify 100%, that because I know what you're doing.
Freaking smart guy.
Yes. That's what if I were Sydney Sweeney, especially since they've already released what she was registered as far as voting goes, squash it right now. Don't justify it. Don't answer anything they ask about it. Regardless of who you want to vote for, I'd be like, I am not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about my movie or my entertainment career. Yeah.
It's like I said, we're in a highly partisan, tribal era where everybody wants to know who is on their team. And the best thing that you can do from a professional standpoint is not to be on either team. Let both claim you, but let both deny you, but never make it solid that you want to take half your audience and dismiss them.
Carter says 100%, Joe. I listened to Stern until he went Trump derangement syndrome.
He went off the charts.
Yeah.
Like he went bad. He would honestly, if you took Howard Stern today and had early Howard Stern interview him, he would think he's the biggest moron on the planet. The only reason that he's justified it because of his self-importance. He thinks he's bigger than the outcome.
What does Howard Stern even have to be able to judge Trump on? Does he talk about him?
Okay, so both from New York,
right?
Both probably had interactions that were not real great.
Yeah.
They probably have a personality sort of conflict between the two. It just doesn't like him. But that doesn't mean that you have to use your platform to assail somebody that you don't like, right? I can agree. If you don't,
especially when you're not far off from being like them.
I know. But that aside, even if there was something that they didn't agree on, right? You don't have to create an identity in disliking someone and use your platform to go after them. That's the deal. Make it about you and your skill set. Don't worry about anybody else who you disagree. I've got a laundry list of people that if I could absolutely take aim at, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't see me ever impugning someone based on the bad decisions they made or bad interactions with me or whatever, because the people that listen to the show want opinion on stuff, unvarnished, rose-colored glasses opinion from two people who like to disagree with everybody. You get that from us. We know
you came here looking for it.
Exactly. Right? But, but anyway.
He says Bruce Springsteen did it too.
Yeah, Bruce did. There is a list of entertainers that went out of their lane and felt comfortable driving directly into that traffic. So every benefit of that is due to them. Mm. And I feel no remorse when somebody says, okay, the Michael Jordan example, I sell shoes and I want to sell 100 million shoes this year. And I'm going to come out and say, you know what? White people are stupid. And then watch 50 million of my sales drop off of the leaderboard and say, oh, I'm making half as much as I did before. How did that freaking happen?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll consult with you. I will let you know that if you alienate buyers or alienate audiences, when you get half of them, zero remorse. In fact, I will hope more people who necessarily might even agree with you find so much insult in disregarding your audience that are like, oh, when's my turn? When you disagree with me on my opinion about vaccines, or when my opinion about politics, or my opinion about geopolitical affairs, when are you going to turn your back on me and make me feel stupid? Why is that important to you?
Yeah. Liam says Trump and Epstein, the thing we knew before and y'all hid behind, but now have issues with. LOL. We knew who was on the list before. Y'all just put your head in the sand. Sad.
All right, listen.
What?
We don't know anything at all. Anybody who talks in absolutes about who's on and who's out, we don't know shit, right?
Yeah, we don't.
We are speculating, and everybody that you know is speculating. There's nothing about anything. So anybody who starts making predicated judgments on things that we don't know is a moron. So, Liam, I'm sorry. You are not a moron. I know you're a smart kid, but your angle on this is moronic. Take some humility, wait for more details, wait for information before you jump to conclusions, or else you're going to look like an idiot. And they're setting you up for that fall. Do not take the bait. I don't know, and you know, here's what we know so far. If there's anybody that were predators, right? Proven evidence-based predators, they need to go to prison for a really long time. We don't know who they are because they're being protected, and that's all we know at this point.
Yeah. Well, Liam says, you do the same, Joe, too. Viva America when Trump got elected. Epstein's friend. Weird. Like, if that list were to come to light and Trump were on it, you'd be the first person to say, lock him up.
Absolutely. 100%.
Lock him up.
Without exception.
Yes. We have never in any way, shape, or form said, punish the people who were involved except for the ones we
give
like.
this guy a
except
free
maybe
ride.
him,
Yeah.
except maybe him. We have said anybody, all of them, any of them.
Okay, so but a reasonable exchange would be, let's just say the Department of Justice goes through the Epstein, all of the people that were involved, and all of them are Democrats. Would you not then say, hold up a minute, what is the likelihood, probability-wise, that when you did an investigation, they were all Democrats, right? It would not be believable. So I would defer to Liam's suspicion whether or not there were going to be some people that were not included in that. That's almost an absolute certainty. So my suggestion was, if you form a commission on imprisoning people who are on the Epstein list, bring 2 people from both parties to be able to sort through the data. Bring the data in, and then have 2 people on both sides. And that way, 2 advocates. The Democrats are going to advocate for this guy was on the list, and the Republicans are going to be like, well, this guy was on the list but through the conflict, those 2 personalities, those 2 positions, we will ferret out more than 0. Right now it's 0. There's no people. There were thousands of women, young girls that were abused, sexually abused, and we have 0. What's a better number than 0? 1. So if you take 1, like Prince Andrew was like the only one we know that partook. Why him, by the way? Why was Andrew the only one we know about that has been outed as a purveyor of sexual deviancy?
I think because he's far enough removed from us, if that makes sense. Like,
that's an innocent, naive approach.
You don't think that's one of it? Like, we're going to give you just enough, but it's not somebody in a position here that can actually be that detrimental?
No.
Okay.
No way.
I think it's one of the reasons.
So Epstein was used as a leverage blackmail agent for whatever, Mossad, for CIA, for whatever. He was a blackmailer. He was collecting leverage over people for either his personal advancement or a law enforcement advancement.
You said he was a CIA blackmailer, as
either or like he was allowed to behave. Did you see the FBI review, by the way?
This does sound familiar. That they're saying they sort of looked the other way to get more.
Well, no, there was actual agreement, a prosecutorial agreement that federal charges were not going to be applied to Epstein so long that he fed as an informant names of people who were part of that organization. So he was given a license and a free pass to break the law for the sake of law enforcement gathering information about people.
This is true?
True. Like, I read the document.
Like The Departed? Except that guy was a cop. But anywho, go on.
Used by law enforcement.
Okay.
That is 100% certainty that it was used, but it's not the extent of the usage from FBI was also probably CIA, which was also probably Mossad. The soft power that over controlling and blackmailing leaders in other countries and whatnot was extremely powerful thing. So they used him, allowed the abuse of young girls for the sake of getting information on your enemies or people that you're competing against, right? But that's why I ask, like, if you were formulating and adding all of these leaders, you would expect that the FBI, CIA, Mossad, everybody would use that information to indict those people. Like, once you have the information, you would want to use that to leverage and indict. If there are 0 indictments because of it, what were you using that leverage for? So Prince Andrew really is a confusing one, because what was the upside? It was a humiliating deal where we were going after, or whoever was going after, sort of the advantage of just taking the monarchy and hurting one person in the monarchy. What about him was so special that all of a sudden we used information to hit him specifically? So the conspiracy theorist in me says there had to have been something about him that he knew or was going to do or was involved in that we wanted to take credibility away from him by putting him, the only person in the Epstein mess so that anything he did or said was mitigated. It's really the only thing that makes sense.
You don't think it makes sense that they could just use him as a way of being like, see, we gave you someone. Here you go. See, this guy was bad. And look at him, not us.
Did it quell the thirst?
No,
it was not a good example. So here's what's likely to happen. They go through the Epstein list. They get Ghislaine Maxwell to out a bunch of names. And rather than the people who did the thing, they're going to get advisors and interns and people you don't even freaking know. And your first 100 batch are people who are like, who the frick is this guy? And there's going to be a bunch of people that go to jail that were apportionment. Because here's what politicians do really well. Remember our bank example? Number one strategy of robbing a bank is not get caught.
Oh, yeah.
So you put 90% of your effort in not getting caught. So I'm a politician. I'm like, I'm going to the island. My sole obligation is either not to get caught myself or make sure the evidence points to someone other than me. So I'm like, hey, I want to schedule this thing in Epstein. So I've got this intern, right? Schedule the appointment. I want you to land there. I want you to do everything. And then my role in it would be just the fruit. I would take all of the strategy or the logistics before it and make it someone else's fault. So on the list, it's going to be Bob Smith. He booked the ticket. He did the landing. He set up the phone calls. He set up the girl that I'm going to be with. Everything is going to talk to Bob Smith. So when it comes down to it, like on paper, you're never going to see me at all. It's going to be Bob Smith was responsible for everything up to the act. And then the act was going to be ninja. And then I was going to bail out and everything else is Bob Smith on the other side.
Which is why I don't understand what it matters if Ghislaine Maxwell names names. Because could they not say it's your word versus mine?
We need evidence.
She's trying to throw us under the bus to hide her friends.
And that's why it's super likely that it's going to be the mystery of the name floating rather than something that I can prosecute something over. So if I'm the Trump administration and I want to give the public what they demand, which is some names, I want to make sure that no Republicans in any power positions are on that list. And I want to make sure that this thing goes away for good. So it's enough of the stuff so that nobody's wondering anymore. It's put to bed. I would hit those three things. So if Democrats are in power, they're doing the same shit. They're going to insulate Democrats. They're going to make sure it goes away. And they're going to give just enough names to satisfy the hunger of the public. Yeah,
I think the reason that this is just dead and there's no way it's going to go anywhere is if the only shred of evidence we have is paperwork that has a name that's loosely related. Like if Trump, for example, let's say Trump's name is on some documentation that he was hanging out with Epstein, and that's it. Or I don't know, Joe Schmo, your name is on here that you were once on a flight with Epstein somewhere. Like all these little names, but nothing else of substance. But they tell you that person will sue the hell out of you for even mentioning their name and painting them in a light as some sexual abuser on Epstein Island when all they did is just have a meeting with him about a building or had lunch to discuss some business. And that's the only reason their name's involved. If you mention the name in any way around the Epstein Island, you're going to get the pantsuit off of you. So now they don't want to do that either. You have to have more evidence.
You're a reasonable person. Okay, so let's just say I'm gonna float some headlines to you, and you tell me what in the end it means. Remember, the predicate is that there was a machine that would have underage girls have sex with prominent people. That is what we're looking at. The people that did that need to go to jail. So I'm going to float you a headline. So the headline is Trump flies with Jeffrey Epstein to Key West, and when they're at Key West on a beach, the two of them have sex with 100 30-year-old women, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does that do for the underlying deal? Do you agree that Trump has probably had sex with a lot of women?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women who were, saw him as a celebrity, wanted a piece of that, whatever.
Powerful.
Do you think he used his position to be able to have sex with a lot of women who probably wouldn't have sex with a no-name Trump?
Yes.
Okay. So is that the indictment of being a philanderer, being somebody who has bad moral judgments and whatever? Or is the predicate Trump or person, name, insert name in here, went to an island that was a machine for privileged people to have sex with underage people? Are those two stories related? What's your reasonable person's response to the Key West story?
Yeah, my reasonable person would say, "Oh, gee, that's pretty close." Like, people went to this island to have sex with underage girls, but he went to this island to have sex with of-age girls.
Are they the same?
I mean, they're not. The one's legal, one is not. But
we
it's
already
plausible.
established that he has little moral character. So to go to a beach and have sex with people that he doesn't know is in line with what we already know.
Yeah.
If he had sex with people who were 16 or younger, right, we don't have a headline that says he did that version of it. So being on an airplane, going to a beach, having sex, making comments about, the good bits of women, saying things like that, all already is congruent with what we already know about Trump, that he was a sexual deviant. But the jump to whether or not he was part of the machine where we want people to go to prison for I would not subject somebody going to a Key West beach and having sex with 100 women who are over 30, right? Regardless of the situation. It was sex between two people who were agreed to have sex. Yeah, I disagree with it, but it's not in the same camp as underage girls.
Right. It's not the same thing. It'll make you wonder, who do I believe? That's pretty dang close. But it's not.
But evidence suggests that you got to have just one. All you got to do is have one. Where there was instance where there was something that was over the line with somebody that was under 16. That's all. Just one.
Yeah.
And then I'd be willing to take that jump with you and say, well, if he did it once and it's provable, then he probably was at Epstein Island. If he went on the plane and Jeffrey Epstein was hooking him up with something he liked anyway, and he did it once already, now I'm ready to go with you.
Yeah. What if he says, yes, I went to this island. I did this thing. I hooked up with a bunch of women. I was told all of them were of age. They gave me this other one. I didn't know they weren't of age.
Okay.
Still a crime?
What are the rules for you and I? So if I go to a bar,
still a crime,
and somebody says they're 18 and I go have sex with them and they say, nope, I was really 15. What applies to me? The same should apply to you.
Yeah. Did you see something? I swear I saw a headline recently that said the Clintons were subpoenaed in this.
Oh, there's a list. So the investigation of Russiagate was referred into the Department of Justice for prosecution. And all throughout October, I think from October 1st all the way through the end of November, they have hearings with all of the Clinton, Obama, Comey, everybody that was in that era.
Oh, that was about the election meddling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to get spicy. It really is.
And again, what's the statute of limitations on that? Like, we kind of have this habit, we meaning us as America, of looking into something years later. And that seems a little convenient, don't you think?
Amazingly, we'd love to prosecute this, but the statute of limitations is elapsed.
Yeah,
we just can't do it. Dang it. If we just hit this earlier, we'd have been right on.
5 years too late. What are you going to do?
But I think most of the statute of limitations are exempt from statute of limitations for what they're pursuing. But there's a lot of people that get away with a lot of shit in government that you and I, in a million years, if they were eyeballing you, they were coming after you, they would do it promptly, right? They would not care about predicament they put you in by pursuing you. But in government, they get this special deal where it's like, oh, it's kind of inconvenient to go after Obama because he's a president, and we don't go after presidents. That's kind of, that feels like it's, what the founders would have really disagreed with.
Because then we're going to sort of be blacklisted from things that we need, and we need that information. And kind of like the Colbert thing, Stephen Colbert, his show was canceled.
Yes.
And a lot of people are saying that it's because he was so outspoken against Trump. And apparently their media organization is funded by that party, I guess, or what? Something in government funds them.
They were losing $40 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were canceled because you are not profitable. And the people that subsidized you and kept you afloat while you were losing money are no more. We cleared up the connection between government spending, or started to clear up the connection between government spending and propping up media sources that would help Democrats. If you watch over probably the course of the next 2 years, if Republicans stay in power, the Democrats they will probably lose about between, I'm going to say 25 and 40% of their total support across the spectrum, because it was inauthentic.
Yeah.
So if you can buy media and you can buy academia, you can buy scientists and you can buy, environmentalists, you can, in pharmaceutical, like, you're bought, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all the things that were making your inauthentic deal, like the public doesn't buy into your deal, but it makes it seem like they do because you own all of the mouthpieces for all industries. All of a sudden that money dries up and you're like, oh shit, like watching all of these industries go out of business because now that the government funding dries up, they can't do it based on public support. You're like, okay, if Planned Parenthood, right, they love abortions, right? And you watch like all these people in support of Planned Parenthood. And the only reason Planned Parenthood survived because the government funding, because liberals decided to put money in the pocketbooks of Planned Parenthood. You're like, oh, dude, if you take the government money away, look at all these freaking people that will absolutely stand up and give $50 a month so Planned Parenthood can keep doing the thing they love, which is aborting everything, killing babies, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, all this support, why isn't anybody opening their checkbook and making Planned Parenthood? Because it was all fictitious.
Yeah.
There weren't as many people as it felt like there was, because the minority of the minority of the minority, right, were all fabricated.
Do you know what actually happened the other day?
What?
I can't believe I forgot to tell you about this. I was in the house and I could hear talking outside. And my husband comes in and he's like, oh my God, guess what just happened? And I said, what? He was outside and our next door neighbor was outside and they were chatting, I guess. Some total stranger driving down the street stopped in front of our houses and yelled out the window. What did he say? He said something like, oh, hope you didn't like Daniel Tiger. No more Daniel Tiger anymore. Trump's an asshole. Because Daniel Tiger is a kid show on PBS. And they just looked at, he said, the neighbor went, what? And my husband said he just started laughing at the guy and then he got mad and sped off. And he's like, I wish I would have said, did you ever shell out money to PBS? Did you support them in any way? Like, do you even have kids? And why are you telling us? Like, you're a nutcase.
Like, did you have Big Bird on a cross? What did you have outside your house?
He wanted to be like, you can still watch.
What outside your house
streaming.
It made this
That's
happen?
what
I blame you. Like,
I said, we have no kids items in our yard. The next door neighbor had some like trucks. They have a little kid. So maybe there were toys in the neighbor's yard. There had to have been.
Toys brought this out?
I had to have been.
Did you have a Trump sign, an American flag?
American flag in our yard.
That's it. American flag. The liberals are American haters now.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you have an American flag, you are almost presumed to be a Republican, and Republicans hate Big Bird. And then Big Bird canceled NPR and PBS. So you canceled PBS.
Yeah. That's what because we had this discussion. I said, why the hell is he just yelling at everybody he sees outside?
Nope, just American flag.
And then I was like, we don't have any kids toys, and that's what we said. We're like, there's an American flag at the end of our yard.
That's it. That's all it takes. Love for country means you're Republican. Republican means you hate Big Bird, and you should be ashamed. All right.
I
Julie,
was profiled.
Julie says, do presidents have immunity? The Supreme Court seems to think so. And the way that I understand it is presidents in the practice of their job have immunity from decisions for things that could put you and I in prison if it is in the capacity of their job. Now, it would be a court case to be able to prove what you did was part of the capacity of your job. So, for instance, if Obama orchestrated a coup against an incoming president, would that be the job of the president to look out on the horizon, see Trump as a threat, and the president's job is to thwart the threat of an incoming president being able to destroy democracy? You'd have to make that argument before a court, and the court would have to say, not the purview of the president.
Yeah.
So I think if it's outside, so for instance, what immunity was claimed on for Trump? Was it the New York stuff? What immunity are we talking about that I know that they failed to pursue federal charges against Trump because it would be presidential immunity? That's a question for you, Julie, because I'm a little unsure.
It wasn't with his Trump University anything.
No, not Trump University. I think it was the real estate in New York is what they had federal charges against, and they didn't put him in prison or take a punitive part of the trial because he was going to become president. So he could have been the first president to serve a term while in prison, and they didn't pursue prison because of immunity. But what about a real estate deal would have been in the context of his presidential duties? Like, I don't quite understand it. So Julie, if you want to send it out at me.
Yeah. I mean, is immunity for things too, like a president can decide to go after a terrorist organization or another group and have them killed, and you're not going to be prosecuted for murder
because you were doing an act of your presidency. You can't be indicted for that.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. I don't believe in it. And I think it's just like every other benefit of the political class. They take advantage of it. So for instance, like, let's just say you can do a recess appointment if it's based on national security, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're like, well, I want to do a recess appointment for John Smith. And because if I don't do that, then Russians are going to get mad and they're going to nuke New York, right? That is not a true statement, where theoretically you can make a loose argument that it poses a national security threat, but it's not real. There was no real threat. You can't get people to say, oh yeah, Russia was like gonna do it if you didn't make this recess appointment. So they sort of like do the fringe cases, and they make arguments that would never pass muster if you and I did it ever, because a reasonable person would say, come on, make a better case that Russia was on the brink of nuking New York if you didn't have that recess appointment. Come on, that kind of thing. But as long as they're allowed to occupy and play that game, and the rest of us are just like, oh yeah, the Republicans are just like, oh yeah, they were totally going to nuke us, and Democrats are like, they weren't going to nuke us. Then we have this unreasonable stupidity, right?
Yeah,
that they're able to operate without impunity, and they could just claim whatever they want, and they don't follow. So if, let's just say during the Gulf War, the Patriot Act, you were never allowed to spy on U.S. citizens, right? Mm-hmm. And you weren't allowed to bug them. You had to have probable cause. You had to follow normal court precedents. But then the executive branch was given a special liberty that said if somebody posed a national security threat, now you could, you didn't have to, you had to go to a special counsel, and you could spy on people. You didn't have to follow the regular court proceedings to get a warrant the way that you legally should have to if they pose a national security threat. So how many people do you think loosely got justified as a national security threat? So law enforcement could do something they normally wouldn't do, and nobody ever had to answer that they exploited a license that was not in the spirit of why it was granted. So to me, it's like if somebody's going to attack the World Trade Center and fly a plane into it, you can absolutely spy on someone to thwart that.
Yeah.
But now, do you think that lesser things, like somebody was going to steal Microsoft's special algorithm in their software, which poses a national security threat. Oh, you said national security threat? Let's spy on Bob Smith.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit that we will all that whole strata of political class can get away with murder. Not even, I'm not even being,
Yeah, you're not even being dramatic.
It could be absolute murder.
Yeah.
They will exploit it. So that's why, as a libertarian, I hate to grant any kind of privilege to that class, because they are very well funded. They're really savvy, and they will take 99% of it's an exploit and 1% was legitimate. Almost every time.
I love Julie's comment. Oh, for the love of. I have an American flag flying at my house every day. Liberals do not hate America.
Do you hate Big Bird? If you fly an American flag, you hate Big Bird.
Listen,
and Grover.
Not all liberals hate America. And Julie, I'm sure you don't hate America. But you're wrong if you don't think any don't hate America. And even if they don't hate America, they absolutely will be triggered by an American flag and assume somebody flying one is a conservative. I know that is a fact. Not blanketed, not everyone, but I have seen videos. I've heard people. I have seen lots of evidence that somebody who was very, very, very far left will see someone with an American flag and automatically assume they know all kinds of stuff about them and their political
Julie,
beliefs.
here's a challenge for you. This is a Joe challenge, and I want you to do this for a whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take a red hat that says, "Make America Great Again." And I want you to wear it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I want you to take a notebook. I just want you to peruse, go to some public places. And every time someone makes a comment or says, makes a comment or says something to you or interacts with you, I want you to write down what they did and see what the thing elicited what response. So there was a dude that was kicked out of a baseball game because he wore a MAGA hat. Someone who's kicked off an airplane for wearing a MAGA hat. Because we're getting these associations where if we can tie something to Trump and you don't like Trump, then you have a license then to misbehave because of what that brought out in you. So that's all I want you to do is one weekend, wear a MAGA hat, and I want you to record the interactions. And then I want you to say that it wasn't every liberal that we're going to make comments to you or demean you or give you side eye or whatever, but I want you to pay attention to the ones that do. And I think it'll open your mind a little bit.
Carter said, "I'll send Julie the hat."
Yes. Yeah. But Carter, do that. You and Julie. I want Carter there to make sure that you're giving it a true test. Carter will make sure that you're protected.
Carter should wear a BLM shirt.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Because this is not
social experiment.
A red hat social experiment. This is, if it's a polarizing message, you're going to get very eager people to tell you how they feel about the thing. So if I drive by and I'm really embarrassed for America right now, and you have that American flag, I am going to tell you that you hate PBS and you hate that the racism that is
you're
kicking
probably a
illegal
racist
immigrants
Nazi.
100%. I am putting you in
You're
that
pro
entire
taking
camp.
people's rights away.
You hate democracy.
Yeah.
Absolutely hate democracy.
I am now afraid. I bought when Kennedy was running for not a hat person.
Oh, a T-shirt. Carter, do you have a "Make America Great Again"
T-shirt? When RFK Jr. was running for president, I bought some RFK for President merch, and I have a MAHA hat, "Make America Healthy Again," and I bought that hat not because of a political side, not because I'm pro Republican. I bought it before he even joined forces with Trump. I bought it because I agree in the message of our country is getting too sick. We need changes. We need to get healthier. And I liked that message. And I have quit wearing this hat because I am so sick of people saying "Maha" and assuming things about me.
Yep.
Oh, you right wing, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you're right, because I want us to quit getting cancer and research medication more and get more exercise and get poison out of our food and all this stuff. Yeah, that totally means I'm a racist, Nazi, Trump-loving, right-wing asshole. Like,
all right, so let's talk about this because this is important. Just like our Coldplay couple about the CEO got all of the burn and then the cheating HR lady barely got anything, and the distance between that, right?
Mhm.
Pay attention to that because it wasn't 50-50. So liberals will outwardly show their ideals and they are not harshly judged. And Republicans show their ideals and they are really judged. So like if you had in your yard, I support LBTGQRF3 minus sign divided by 7, right? If you had that in your front yard, that is a political statement, which means that the people who agree with you are going to honk at your house and the people who disagree with you are going to want to light your sign on fire, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I have a RFK sign in my driveway, the people who like RFK are going to honk their horns and the people who disagree are going to light your sign on fire.
Mhm.
It should be about a 50-50 split. But I think Democrats and liberals feel like their expression should almost be protected from criticism, where it's really easy. Like nobody even feels guilty for you that if I put a Trump sign in my yard and they heard that somebody egged my car because I had a Trump sign, they'd be like, wow, you had that coming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's almost like I get this sense that people that are more right and pro-Trump and pro-conservative almost have this like, I'm going to say what I support and what I like without fear. And I don't care if you agree with me. This is what I like. And the left comes out as, it doesn't matter what I like. I'm speaking out against you and you're wrong and you shouldn't do this and you're a jerk, instead of just saying what they like. Like, I'm support this. I like this. I like this. And this side says, I like this. I like this. It's never that. It's always, you're wrong. You're wrong. Your beliefs are stupid. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. You're hateful. And it's like,
two houses next to one another. One sign says, protect women's reproductive rights. And the neighbor says, let's not murder babies, right?
mm-hmm.
Both of them, when you drive by, should be like, both of these are expressing their opinions on what they think should happen.
Yeah.
Do you think society would judge one harsher than the other? Which one would be if you give a point system of 100, you got 100 points to spend. Which one is more noble? Which one is more vile, right?
Yeah.
Or do you say, oh, they're just somebody's opinion?
I would see both of those as someone's opinion.
Okay. Because you're reasonable.
Yeah.
Right? The Julies of the world or the liberals of the world would probably see the noble one is we're protecting we're protecting reproductive rights. That sounds like I put on my crown and I put on my armor and I'm like, I'm fighting for the good side, the good guys, right? I don't want to kill babies. Like there's some subtext there that conflicts. They both conflict with one another. They are one for one with each other. One wants to keep babies alive and one to give the choice to kill babies, right? So they're equal messaging. But one, if you want to kill babies, has so much mind control about it that it's an attack on the woman, even though the message says nothing to do with the woman. It has to do with keeping a life alive, which should feel like if you went back 200 years and say, this is Kelin, she wants to make sure babies live. You would say, that is the most virtuous approach that you could get. Babies alive?
Yeah.
That is amazing. You are a good person because you want to keep babies alive. But when framed in today's political thing, you saying you want to keep babies alive means that you want to injure the woman, the mother, right?
Yeah.
And that is the
you want to
biggest
take
sin.
rights away from someone.
Yeah. Why do you hate women so much when you want to keep babies alive? It's in conflict. If you keep the baby alive, the woman has no rights. And it feels like there will be a reckoning. Like there's going to be like an overturning here where reasonable people, all those, you take the funding away from the mouthpieces that are the media and you get it to be that the minority voices are given amplification proportional to how many there are. And then reasonable people are like, yeah, you know what? There's some circumstances that we want to make sure that we're, considerate of. But for the most part, like we don't like killing babies. Like that's probably something that reasonable people would say. Let's try to rescue as many of them as we possibly can. And then the majority would agree with that. Yeah, you're being reasonable there.
Yeah, and I feel like we are sort of on the cusp of this new era that there is some pushback against the bullshit. Like this fear of, I can't say anything because I might be canceled or I might be looked at in a certain way. People are getting over that. Like, you can support women and want to speak out for them and support them in any way you can and say women deserve equal rights and equal opportunities. And you can support LGBTQ community and say they are human beings and I'm not going to be mean to them and they have rights just like we do. And at the same time say, but a man's not going to play in a woman's sport.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You know, like there is this middle ground. Someone can look at Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad and in no way ever see a message of Nazi, racist undertones, eugenic, anything. It was a play on words. A girl was in an ad campaign. And when they get the pushback of, oh, don't you see that it's highlighting one race over another and it's just pushing this agenda? I think years ago, somebody would have said, oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't notice that. Nowadays, they're like, you're batshit crazy. Yes. Like, no, it doesn't. I think we have this whole new wave of people that are now beyond sick of getting accused of being a certain way or thinking a certain way. That is not it.
Yeah.
And now I think we have this pushback of, I'm done with you trying to tell me I'm a bad person when I'm not.
100%.
And I'm done with you trying to say that I'm some kind of way when I'm not.
Yeah. I like your Valley Girl impression, by the way. That was pretty good. Let's see. How do you justify Trump going after Democrats after Kelin's comment? I think it was when I said, how do you justify Trump? Like maybe the people that are more conservative are just saying, I like this. And the people on the left are saying, you're wrong and you're hateful and you're. Well, okay. So I'm going to say from Trump's perspective, we're going to swing our camera out to Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I think okay. So reasonably, like arguably just an unbiased thing. Do you think that criticism against Trump is proportional to the pushback from Trump? So do you think they've been nice, considerate, and accommodating to Trump?
No.
So would you expect anything other than a 1-for-1 back at them, right?
Yeah.
So if the Democrats come after Trump, it should be a proportional response to whatever. This guy on the wall here, like, is my hero, right?
Albert Einstein.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the origin of my pendulum.
Uh-huh.
And physics says that whatever energy you push on one side of the pendulum, you get back on the other side. It should always be proportional. That's what brings things into homeostasis. Like, it's going to balance out and average down. So if you don't want to have a pushback, you have to decide when it's your choice not to push back in the other direction. Mm-hmm. So if I assail you, like I come up on a fight, right? And you're like, we're going to fight. And I pull out a gun and you're like, oh shit. Now, what's expected from an observer's standpoint? If you pull out a gun, is it proportional?
No. Well, if I do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you don't like the fact that now it whatever you pulled out then inspired you to pull. You don't like that because you were like, I got a gun. It's an advantage and you have none. I feel like I'm in a power position. But then when you pull out a gun, right, you're like, oh shit, now it's balanced out. I don't like this. I lost my power advantage.
Yeah.
Right. That sucks. So if I'm like, hey, you're a racist, right? Then I can say, no. You're a racist. And you don't like that because the power of calling you a racist was supposed to get you to put up the white flag and not fight back. But now you're pissed off because the advantage is gone. So that's why I say in politics, so long that you keep taking a escalated offensive position against someone, when they give you a proportional escalation in that offensive, like, I have no sympathy for you, and nor should anyone.
Yeah. You just reminded me of Sean Connery and the Untouchables.
Yeah. They
pull a knife, you pull a gun.
Yes, right. That's exactly right. So how do I feel about Trump going after? Myself, I like to stay objective. I don't project on Trump to be objective because if I was assailed like he's assailed, I would fight back in equal proportions. And I would not even blame him if he escalated and brought a proportion. So we decide that we're going to have a fist fight. And then you pull out a revolver and I pull out a RPG, right?
What's an RPG?
rocket propelled grenade.
Oh God.
All right.
Okay.
So if you were the escalator, you were the one that brought it from fist fight to gun. Now you can't complain that somehow I outgunned you by bringing out my RPG, right?
Yeah.
That's what we have in politics, where it's like, oh, you wanted to play the race game against him. You wanted to try to destroy his character. You wanted to try to assassinate him. You want to try to destroy him in every way. And then he takes aim at you and you're like, oh, the outrage. How dare you come after the Democrats?
And I used to be that person. I used to say, oh my God, Trump is so childish. And oh my God, I can't believe he says things like this. And where's his presidential decorum and all this stuff? And to an extent, I see the point of that. I see the desire for someone to want the president to be a bigger person. Got it. But I can't blame him. I can't blame him when he does sink to that level, when everyone else is so far on a lower level and all they do is give him that, give him that, give him that. So when he actually does say, no, you're a jerk. No, you're being childish and you guys are being that. Now they're like, oh my God, I can't believe the president would speak that way.
So here's, and really this should be the qualifying question. This should be what we aspire to be. And if you are a jester amongst noblemen, right, then you stand out as someone who admonish for being the jester. Mm-hmm. But if you are a jester amongst jesters, right, you cannot judge the jester. So that's my nugget of wisdom here is like, if you want him to stand out and to be absurd, you got to expect the rest of them not to act the same way that he does, or else you're all just freaking morons. Like you're all just jesters.
Yeah. Like I had somebody say to me one time, I had made a joke about Trump. I sent somebody like a reel or something that was kind of making fun of Trump because I make fun of both sides. And somebody says, gosh, imagine voting for that person. And I said back, yeah, imagine that being your best option. Because it's like, when you show me better, I'll go for better. When you show me someone who does act a certain way and is always the bigger person and has nothing to hide and is lily white and is virtuous and has integrity at all times, by all means, that will be our clear winner. But when that doesn't exist, it's simply, oh, well, Trump said this about women. You're right. You know, Biden's daughter wrote that he got in the shower with her as a teenager, but we're just going to overlook that, right? You know, it's like, we can do 1 for 1 all day long. Any candidate versus any candidate. Do you know that Trump is kicking people out of our country? You know, Obama kicked more out than Trump did. What else you got? You know, like there will always be 1 for 1, always. And if you find someone that truly is more virtuous, by all means, we'll go that route.
But that's not what we have.
Nope.
We have a bunch. Oh, Julie wrote something. I want to respond. I do have one more topic after this too.
Okay.
Have you ever seen extreme pushback against any Republican president prior to Trump? Never. Why? I hope to God there is extreme pushback against authoritarian and wannabe presidents. I saw a ton of pushback. I mean,
I feel like everyone pushed back on Bush a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Character assassinations and the deep state working against him. And they're what maybe what she's saying is reasonable people, like the normal people. You didn't have like a really, if you go back to the presidents, I want you to give me your snapshot judgment based on just a regular person on every person. Bill Clinton, what was he?
Oh my God, I was a kid. What was he as far as?
Give me the snapshot. If I were writing a 1-sentence description of what he was as a president by Kelin, what was Clinton?
He was a Democratic president that had an affair with Monica Lewinsky.
Okay.
In the 90s.
And in cooperation with the Republican House and Senate, balanced the budget and had great economic policies. That would be my addition to that.
I don't know. I wasn't
terrible
really watching.
Character personally, but really good political character and was very effective.
Yeah. Hence why he's still not looked at as a villain, even though he did something.
George
scummy.
W. Bush.
I don't know much about him. Again, was young.
All right. Texan guy.
Yeah.
was not real articulate.
Republican.
Really lambasted from
Oh wait, we're talking about not original
not
Bush, but
H.W.
the
Bush,
son
W.
Bush.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He was kind of known as
A
sound
dummy.
and dumb. Yeah.
Texas guy, oil guy, really good business wise.
Good old boy.
Hmm?
Was he a good old boy?
Good old boy. Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't come across well. Not a great presence. And he was famous for the weapons of mass destruction during the Gulf War, not being able to find what Saddam said he had as weapons of mass destruction. Okay,
Yeah.
so he was humiliated a bunch of times. He was lambasted by everybody in media.
Yeah. Fool me once.
Probably a good dude to have a beer with. Probably not someone who I would elect as president at all.
Yeah.
And then you had Obama. What's Obama famous for?
Obama was likable.
Okay.
He was a likable dude. He spoke very well. He carried himself well. To me, he was somebody that I was like, oh, I would totally hang out with him. He's a likable guy.
Okay. So to me, very articulate, very able, very skilled politician. Came from Illinois, corrupt as shit, and probably had, he sort of had the goodwill because he was the black president that everybody bought into. Did terrible for sort of like uniting the races, where he had that opportunity to say, look, I've achieved the pinnacle of all things, and totally pissed away an opportunity and actually created more racial strife by him being there.
Yeah.
So skilled, probably not a dude I'd want to hang out with because he's as phony as fake as anybody could be. But he was a great politician. Good things he did. I can't really name much of anything. Nothing stands out to me other than he's very divisive.
He was in office when we got Osama bin Laden.
Yes.
So I feel like he kind of got that
credit for taking
Yeah.
out Osama when Bush couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. All right. So that's Obama. Then we go. Who's following Obama? Was it Trump?
Was it Trump?
Was it?
Because I feel like then it became Trump versus Hillary.
Yeah, Trump and Hillary that time. So what was Trump in his first term? What was he known for? Little one.
I feel like in the beginning, everybody thought, oh, a businessman, not a politician. He's going to break the cycle of politics. And he was just sort of a loud, egotistical, conservative.
So I'll take credit for Trump of being right on him, where he was the punch in the face that everybody wanted to do the government after the Obama years. And you ever order those things in the back of a magazine where like the X-ray glasses or whatever, they say they do certain things. But when you get them, you're like, oh, you fucking got me.
These are cardboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trump was that, where he wasn't able to do anything really that he said. He was a competent president where he didn't blow me away. And, whatever. And then Biden was the biggest embarrassment of a president that we have ever freaking had. Maybe one good year of a sentient human being and 3 years of masking a complete zombie as a president.
Yeah.
More corruption than we will ever know about. The worst president of my lifetime.
And I started really trying to defend Biden. Like when he first came in office, it was funny. I worked with someone that was very pro-Trump, and they used to be like, I just don't, how could you just overlook everything Biden does? And I was like, oh, he's not that bad. And he lost his wife and child, and that's got to do a number on your psyche and all. And then the further we got, I would still be like, come on, show us you're not really crazy. Show us you're not losing it. And my confidence dwindled until we got to that debate of Trump and Biden, when he really, really just garbled. And I went, oh, we're done.
Yeah.
It's time to go to bed.
So, so young Biden in the McCain era, what was that? What was the Speaker of the House? Newt Gingrich. Like that era during the Clinton era, when those two were, those are my favorite. That was my favorite era in politics, because the amount of cooperation that you had between both sides was the last time that I can remember contentious arguments ending in something that was productive. Right now, you can have a contentious argument and it's all about just, fleeing the state like they did in Texas, right? It says, I don't want to play with you. But that era was amazing for people compromising. It's the last time I remember.
Yeah. I think Biden ramped up on the idea of let's really drive home this idea of good versus bad and people currently don't have equal rights and that's not right. And we need to support the underdog and make sure all these other people that are being kept down are now lifted up. And it was like this pep rally idea of we're going to fight for the innocent and help all these people that are suffering. And then after a while, you realize that was all bullshit.
Yes, right.
And
he
then
played the game.
Yes. And then you realize that everybody who bought into that then dug their heels into that and took it so far in left field that they became the villains. They were doing the very thing they said they wanted to fight against at an even greater capacity. And now you've ticked off everyone else. So now it's like, oh, now you look batshit crazy and you're the bad guy. And now it's like, oh, why don't you just give the election to the other side?
If you want to say that the highest order of participation trophies, Biden being president was the participation trophy. He was a Democrat. He did a great job when he was serving in Congress. And they gave him as the pinnacle of his career, the presidency. At the same time, because he didn't deserve it and wasn't the best person for it, he flubbed it up and he deteriorated at the same time. So that's why he's an embarrassment. He was only given it because it was the trophy of exceptional attendance and also that he was a terrible person.
Yeah. And Janet says people bought into Trump and he hasn't done much to improve this country.
If you're a Democrat, he hasn't done.
And that's the thing too. Like if you believe that he talked a big game and then didn't show much for it, that's one thing. But to me, talking a big game and not showing anything for it is a little different than causing havoc and anger and bias and racism. And like, you cannot be detrimental and just be meh. We've had a lot of the presidents that were like, meh, had high hopes. It was uneventful. You can be uneventful. Well, Biden, I think, made it worse.
The difference is that I like this Trump term right now because it's like, someone puts a 2 weeks notice in and then when they still go to work for the 2 weeks, that's Trump right now, right? He's not trying to get along with anybody. He's not going to try to get elected to anybody.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Fire me?
Exactly. He is running rogue on what government is. So other presidents, they have aspirations afterwards and they have to get along with those same people and they don't want to cause a disturbance. So they go right up the line of what they can do, but they're not going to create extra conflicts where they don't need to get into. So all the big problems are going to cause conflicts. Every president won't tangle with that. Trump's just like, if it ain't even going to be here any after 3 years. So he touches the third rail and he licks it for all he cares.
Yeah.
And the rest of us are like, yes, right? So we used to have 100,000 people coming over the border. Zero is a better number than 100,000 people coming under the border. That makes a lot of people happy when you're competing with people who are breaking the rules versus people who are strictly trying to follow the rules. That's a big deal to some of us.
Yeah.
So for that, Janet, who said hasn't done much, if you are a Democrat, you are going to look at everything he's doing and not know who he's serving. Just like the artists on stage that we really like their guitar riffs. People don't like guitar riffs. They're like, why am I even here? They're not saying anything political, right? They're not performing for you. So I can see the disappointment. They're not your president. And when you don't claim it as your president, I'm cool with that because they're not going to do anything that you like from this point on. They're not looking to compromise. So where there's some presidents who compromise was a big part of why I attribute it because politics is hard anyway. Compromise is difficult. When you have to do something you don't really want to do for the sake of getting other things you want to do, that's traversing that I would not want to play that game. Mm-hmm. Where Trump's just like, F you. I'm not compromising. I'm just doing my thing. And that's just where we're at.
Julie says, did you ever feel any previous president wanted to toss out the Constitution, toss out the balance of power, and become an authoritarian?
Yeah, I don't agree with any of those things that are levied against Trump. I don't think he's a racist.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a misogynist. I don't think he's a Nazi. I don't think he hates the Constitution.
If Biden pardoned his son, knowing his son committed a crime, is he in any way better than Trump?
When you make the statement throwing out the Constitution, what does that mean?
What,
Does
they think he wants to just say, no checks and balances on me. No way that I can be held accountable for anything. I have all power. I will do whatever the heck I want, and I am untouchable.
Okay, so let's mechanically, like nuts and bolts, how does that actually work? So if a police issues you a ticket, right, and that is law enforcement enforcing a law. If you go to court to defend yourself against the ticket, are you throwing out the Constitution by using part of the procedure, right? You're challenging it. So if you challenge the defense against something, is that throwing out the Constitution?
No.
All right. If you do something and defend yourself, is that throwing out the Constitution?
No.
What would be throwing out the Constitution?
I do whatever I want. You can't touch me.
Give me an example where we're throwing out the Constitution. So, for instance, I'll give you another. For instance, Texas. Okay, so Texas are doing a good bit of gerrymandering. They're going to take like 15 plus districts and rejigger them so that they get more House seats in the upcoming election. Reprehensible as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, but still, the state house is Republican controlled. And they're going to vote on this gerrymandering, which means the Republicans are going to pass gerrymandering. Now, the Democrats are like, I don't like this. So I'm going to leave my post and I'm going to go to Illinois so you can't vote on it. Is that throwing out the Constitution?
Like you're changing it to make it?
Well, no, the Constitution says that when you signed up for this, you were going to show up for these meetings and you're going to vote. That's what I agreed to.
Now you're changing.
Are you throwing
what you
out
were
the Constitution? Or are you defending against something and making an appeal? So then what's the process? If you don't show up, what does the governor do? He issues warrants for your arrest. So the procedure is you're supposed to follow the speed limit. If you don't follow the speed limit, you get issued a ticket. And if you get issued a ticket, you go to the court. And if you go to court, you might or might not pay a fine. That is what the Constitution is. You have the follow the rules. What happens if you don't follow the rules? What happens if there are penalties following the rules? And to me, that's what the Constitution set up. Both scenarios. So if these legislators, right, go to another state, they've broken the rules. That's not throwing a Constitution because the Constitution says, okay, what if they don't follow the rules? Okay, we issue a warrant. And if they get arrested and they go to court and they go to jail, that's the Constitution actually being followed.
Yeah.
The act wasn't throwing the Constitution out. The act of throwing the Constitution out would be somebody circumventing that process of doing the thing, the process from doing that thing, and the punishment for doing that thing. That would be throwing out the Constitution.
So what do you say when they're like, and I know we've talked about this before, but it's the only example I could think that they keep trying to give is kicking people out of our country without letting them go to court and have their day in court and showing that they should be here or why they should have some leniency.
It's easy. Just show me the due process. What is due to them? The Constitution sets out a process for how things are handled and was the process followed? And if you're like, okay, well, here's John Smith and he did this. All right, what does he do? Did he get that? Yes or no? What you think the due process should be isn't the same as what lawyers and judges decide what's true. So, for instance, if you don't follow the rules, like let's just say a person was put on a plane and sent to another country, okay, and they didn't go before a court, and so you broke the law, right? That's not throwing out the Constitution. So what happens when somebody breaks the law? You brought in front of a hearing, you say your thing, and they admonish you, right? That's due process. Just because you don't agree that the legislators who flew to Illinois should be arrested by a SWAT team and put in prison, that's not how it works. You put together an embarrassing admonishment. You know, it's not enforceable, but who cares, right? Yeah. My opinion, whether or not they should be in a prison versus what the actual due process for those legislators are, doesn't matter. If you want the process to be different, that's a different story. But your opinion on what it should be and how it differs from what is has no bearing on whether or not you support the Constitution or not.
Yeah.
Should an impeached president be able to serve another term? Should they go to jail? Should they go to prison? Right? Your opinion is, oh, they should. If you're impeached, you should not be able to serve another term. And then we go to the documents and say, what is the due process for someone who's been impeached? Should they be? Oh, doesn't say anything about it. Well, okay, you got a beef against due process in the Constitution, not opinion about what the Constitution should be. That's not.
Yeah. Like when people say, well, it's too hard to come here legally. Then take it up with that process.
That's your beef, not the Constitution.
Not how we're reacting to what's already in place. Your beef is, hey, I don't like what's in place. Let's work to change that. We missed a whole bunch of comments that I think were.
Let's roll back.
Yeah.
Okay, Trump is causing anger and bias. All of the above. Everything is a disaster. Education, National Weather Service, trade, jobs, and there's notion his supporters are buying into that. There'll be some pain to get a better place. For that pain, Trump will. I don't know what that's in reference to.
So they're saying there's this notion that his supporters are buying into, that there will, at some point, there's going to be a little pain, but then things will be better.
Yeah.
And Trump's selling you a bottle of that wine with his name on it. Like, they're being bamboozled.
Honestly, it's a gamble. And if that happens, then he was right. And if it doesn't happen, then he will serve a consequence. That's the due process. When you make a statement like something's going to happen and it happens, then you're giving credit for it. And when it happens and it doesn't happen, you're criticized for it. So that's not like...
It's not like he's trying to get one over on us. It's, I have some ideas. They may or may not work, but I feel confident, so we're going to do them. If they did work, great. If they don't, crap. But it wasn't this bamboozle.
We're straying from how he doesn't like the Constitution. Taking a gamble politically is not same as throwing. So let's stay to the topic of how he doesn't like the Constitution. He's an authoritarian and he wants to throw out the rules that govern people.
Yeah, like let's say.
Do you really think he will?
Yeah, do you really think he'll not try to get another term? Let's say he does. Let's say Trump's like, I'm going to try everything I can to get another term. There's got to be a loophole here somewhere. And they drill through everything. They look at the Constitution. They look at rights. They look at how things go. Let's say he finds a loophole.
Yep.
And he's like, look at this. Look at this. Under this law, under this example, under this whatever, I am able to do another term. Did he throw out the Constitution?
Or did he just follow the rules that now we need to look at and shore the Constitution up? So
and now we have to say, crap, there's something we missed.
So again, not throwing out the Constitution.
Yeah.
Your take on Epstein and Trump trying to cover it up, and yes, I know there were Democrats on this. Your take on Epstein and Trump trying to cover it up. I don't know that he was trying to cover it up. I've heard, the Department of Justice were redacting Trump things, but I don't know that. Like, who's saying that? Like, whenever you follow it back. So is it advantageous for Democrats to claim that he was on the list and the Department of Justice were shielding from that? Yes. So if I floated a rumor, right, all I would say is, where'd you get that information from? And I would travel back the sources, just like law enforcement would do. Let's get to an evidence that says that actually happened. All right. Not just somebody's feeling that's advantageous to the part of their argument. So if that's true, where Trump was redacted from it and he's being saved from it, I'll agree with you. I just don't believe it because here's what you've done. You have thrown everything in the kitchen sink at Trump, mostly untrue. And this is just another thing that you threw at him. Yep. And I'm not going to believe it from you because you've shown that you can be disingenuous.
You were the boy who cried wolf one too many times.
So yes, I would be suspicious. I'm suspicious of it because of the sourcing. He said a lot of shit that wasn't true. And this is another thing. So give me some evidence and I'm with you. But I'm not going to be quick to buy into it until the Department of Justice says it or you have proof of it. And even then, I'm suspicious.
Yeah. And I don't even know if we're looking at something where there are these like diehard Trump supporters that he can do no evil. I'm sure there are. Absolutely. But I feel like we've got a bigger group of people that are like, I don't know if I truly trust Trump, but I'm definitely not listening to the other side because I do know that they just hurl things with no way to back it up.
Exactly. Let's see. Where in the Constitution? Wait. where was the Constitution argument when Biden let millions across the border illegally? And that's an important point, because if your condemnation of Trump is that he breaks a rule knowing that he's breaking it and waiting for the repercussions, but does it anyway, and if you can, through executive order like Biden did, decide that I know the rule's there, but I don't really like the rule, and we'll let it's the same thing to me. So if either you're both going to be outraged on when any president decides that they're going to willingly break a rule, willing to play the consequences because they know there are none, or you give a pass to everyone. If you gave a pass to Biden, you give a pass to Trump. If you admonish Trump, you got to admonish Biden. So long that you're consistent on that, I have no problem with it. But the real question isn't why a president can break the rule without repercussions, right? That's where you need to put your outrage on.
Yeah.
Why does any administration get to say, oh, there's a rule, let's not follow it, and we know there's anybody could do shit to us?
Yeah, it's kind of funny when people say, Trump is the one being divisive and Trump is the one that's making us so polarized. And then they'll be like, oh, people just want to blindly follow. Like, no, you are. If you can't see that both sides are doing the same shit and both sides are equally as guilty on different things, is it this guy that's being pulled, or are you also
just mad?
Yeah.
You swore, Kelin. Like you said
I've
shit.
sworn a few times in this show.
What is
I don't know.
What's this
I'm
about?
amped. I'm amped because it's bull crap. Because it's malarkey.
But then you say bull crap.
Yes,
it's malarkey.
It's malarkey to say that any president, Trump or Biden, is the cause of whatever and them alone. It's like they're both doing it. And then you're going to say, oh, well, Trump's selling you this load of poo. And it's like,
and I can only say,
really, we are.
And I can only say enough, I can't say this too often, that you have a bunch of vipers that run your government, are in control of important things, and they're all dirty as shit. And the best thing that you can do is limit their power and exposure to your everyday life, because they're terrible people. None of them are virtuous. They're all self-interested egomaniacs, and cut them out of your life. The more you bring them in, the more you're going to be in these stupid conflicts where all you do is get mad and say bad things about the person you disagree with, while being very accommodating to the person that's doing the same stuff, but they're on your team, right? Don't do that. It makes you a bad person. They're going to be bad people regardless. You don't have to be a bad person.
Yeah.
So, Kelin, stop swearing. You're better than that. No more swear words.
No promises.
No vulgarities.
No promises.
He wants to change birthright citizenship so that is deemed as wanting to change the Constitution. Well, wanting to change the Constitution and throwing the Constitution out. So let's just say I wanted to change the Constitution. I don't think people should have the right to bear arms, right? And so I'm like, what would it take to change the Constitution? I would basically have to get enough signers to make an amendment, which a constitutional convention, bring the states together, and I'd have to get 60. What is the threshold? Was it 33 states? Something like that. A super majority of states to come to constitutional convention and then say, I want the First Amendment or Second Amendment to be repealed, right? Do I hate the Constitution and want to make a change to it, right? Or am I just altering something and making it better, different, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know what throwing out the Constitution means.
Yeah, I mean,
really do.
We went through this whole era once where people were like screaming about how nobody needs to own an AR-15. Nobody needs to own more than one firearm. Nobody would ever, and we need to do all this stuff. And then somebody would say, hey, it's all right. I'm allowed to own whatever I want. And somebody would say, but that's not right. And that's probably not what was in our founding fathers' minds when they wrote this. Fine, you got beef with it?
Out.
Let's discuss.
Battle
and
it
if a
out.
change needs made to be
Then
more
make the
accurate,
change.
then do that.
That's the process.
Yes. But if someone says, you should ban all your weapons, you shouldn't have all those, we're taking them away, is that throwing out the Constitution?
I mean, amendments were made based on our changes and what we felt was a right thing, trajectory for our country. Did all of the amendments hate the Constitution? Like the 15th Amendment, the 13th Amendment, like they made a change there.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we really hate this Constitution. Let me make a legitimate change through due process and all what the Constitution constitutionality actually builds in the methods for changing itself.
Yeah.
All you got to do is do the thing.
Like they have this image of Trump just taking it and ripping it up and being like, no more rules. Nothing applies to me. When that is far different than saying, I don't like this. I want this changed. Let's work on changing it.
Yeah.
Two totally different things.
Let's go back to their speeding ticket example. Let's just say that they had posted speed signs. You sped faster to it. You got a ticket. And when you got the ticket, you went to the court and all you had to do was say that you were sorry. So the punishment is part of the law. And people on the outside are like, hey, that's not a deterrent. She should have to pay some money, right?
Mm-hmm.
They disagree with what the law and the rule is. They feel like you should have paid more. So if you have a rule or a law that has no teeth, if it's ceremonial or just sort of like a formality, and the rest of us are like, hey, wait a minute, you can't break the rules and not have punishment. We got to pay punishments. Then you're like, okay, well, what is the process for changing the rule for speed limits? You go to city council and you draft or state of Ohio or whatever speed limits are set. And you're like, hey, we instead of it just being Kelin goes and says she's sorry, we want her to pay $50 on her first offense, $200 on her second offense, loss of license on her third offense, and totally loss of privileges on her fourth offense. And then everybody votes on it. And guess what might happen? If they vote on it and people like it, then it will be the new rule. If the people don't, you're going to have to say, oh, okay, well, my opinion didn't matter much because I didn't have consensus amongst the other people who had to serve under these rules and regulations. I just get to lose. And instead of being mad and say, you hate the Constitution, I'm mad now because you didn't say it. You said no to me and I hate you now.
You threw it out.
Right. You hate it. You rip it up and tear it. So yes, I mock
kings.
I mock you because it's not that your passion is misallocated. You should be passionate about things you disagree with. The problem is you're ignorant about how to make those changes. So you lash out the wrong people. When sure, if I think that if a president breaks the law, he should go to prison like everybody else, and they don't, they just get admonished in Congress. Well, if I want to change that, I got to do some shit. I can't just hold a sign up and expect the world to bow to my needs because I'm mad about something. I'm not an entitled brat who thinks that I'm the freaking king, and because I think it should be so should you. Yeah. I got to plead my case the legitimate way.
You're just going to drive by a total stranger's house and yell out the window.
It was effective. You changed.
No more Daniel Tiger.
You actually, made you send a donation to PBS because of that. That was a totally effective strategy.
Really worked on us.
Trump doesn't follow the law or constitution. You got to come up with something better than that. Obviously, not a very well articulated comeback.
Yeah, it falls on deaf ears. It's empty.
Yeah, come on. We're at a higher level during this conversation. That's not going to cut it here. You can take your tripe and take it to talk radio.
Trump doesn't follow the law or constitution. Yes, he does. The end. Yeah. So it's like, where are you going with that?
Or if he doesn't, then the Constitution is just a suggestion. Nobody has to really follow it. And we better put some more teeth in not following the Constitution.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with Trump.
Julie.
I feel like I am battling for Trump. And Trump is not my favorite freaking person.
This is why we get called right wing.
I know.
Because we have to push back against stupidity. And then if Trump does something stupid and we push back against it, we get called leftists.
Yes, because we're non-tribal. We're not on any team. But when something's unfair,
making us defend people
that we don't even like,
Julie says 100% Kelin. First off, Trump has no clue what the Constitution is.
Hold on, pause. Make your case for not knowing what the Constitution is. I push back on that.
If he doesn't know what it is, how can he throw it out? Congress has the power of the purse.
Yes. Trump
ignores that. He uses the military for domestic political purposes, wants to throw out birthright citizenship.
All right, pause. We'll go in on that. What is the power of the purse? And how can it be wielded to control the executive branch?
I don't know.
All right, power of the purse is where something needs funding. So you do a budget proposal in front of a committee and you say, here's what I need and how much I need. I need a lemonade stand that's going to cost me $10,000, right? Mm-hmm. If the Congress, the commission, or the hearing, or whoever's holding the hearing says, we're not going to fund your lemonade stand, you've controlled the executive branch, because now if they want to do a lemonade stand, you said no based on your unwilling to fund it, right? So if the military is used, which the military is already funded, its budget is already set, and they're used in a way that you disagree with, the power of the purse is not even an applicable strategy because the military has already been funded, right? They're not, the constraints are when you ask permission and a new funding on something, the Congress can say freaking no.
Yeah.
So that is not applicable, Julie. I'm sorry. You're reaching.
How about wants to throw out birthright citizenship?
Yeah, wants to. David Hogg wants to throw out the, they want to put regulations on gun control. Wants to. It's your opinion.
I want to do a lot of things that I can't do.
And so legally it will go through a process to see what you want to aligns with what is. And if it isn't, you either have two choices: adhere to it or change it. That's it. And if you break the rule, you follow all the consequences. If there are no consequences, like I'm sorry for whatever, then you change the consequences for it. Following all of the due process. And if the due process sucks, your beef is with the process, not with what you want. All right.
Yeah.
So stupid, guy. I'm too logical for these really sophomoric, total tripe that everybody says it frustrates the shit out of me. Come at me better. Oh my goodness.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. And I am not on either side as far as right or left. But this is why the left lost and they will continue to lose.
Yes.
You have the emptiest arguments. You can't even go at things that make sense. You got to keep arguing the things that have already been debunked or disproven or go nowhere or they fall flat. Or let's say Trump is a racist. Let's say he actually is. And that's not a good thing to be. And most of us would say we don't like that. But let's say I don't like he's a racist and I'm coming up to you and I'm saying, don't vote for Trump. He doesn't like black people, and I think that's wrong. And you're like, yeah, I think that's wrong too. But my family's suffering financially, and he wants to do this, which would give us a better job. And he wants to do this, which would do this, and he wants to do that. And he's going to do all these things to help me. Now, is it virtuous to say, but he's mean to other people? Sure. But is my argument falling on deaf ears? If that's not even in your wheelhouse of worry right now, if you're like, I can't even worry about that because I have so many other things that are affecting my life that he is affecting, so I don't care. Meaning the Democrats will either spread so much bullshit that we get sick of hearing about it, or drill in the dumbest point that falls on deaf ears until we get sick about it. Either way, you're getting nowhere. Find something else.
Right. But the mistake they're making is they're doing that boy who cried wolf thing. So by the time they actually have something legitimate to say, they've said so many things that you have to disregard it.
Like I could be like, no, I would definitely not approve of someone who's a racist. But you've also called him a Nazi and he wasn't. You also say he's throwing out the Constitution and he wasn't. You also say this and that and he didn't. So I don't believe you.
Right. You're not a credible source for an opinion. It's cool. I'm cool with you having it. If you think that I should eat asparagus, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool that you think I should eat asparagus. And when I tell you no, right, that's it. You're you being inspired to change my mind, right, is your problem, not mine. So if you say he's a racist, you think that if I don't immediately say I'm not going to vote for him because you said he's a racist, then guess what you're going to do to me? I'm also a racist. I'm a supporter of racists. And that's when you're cut out because you lost an argument. You didn't make your case. You didn't market to me well. The only way now that you want to get your way is to blackmail me with charging me with the same thing that you did with him. That's a bad choice.
Yep. And that's what pushed me out of the whole realm of even defending anyone that didn't like him is the moment I said, but fill in the blank. But I don't see that. Or, but what about, if you question us, you're bad too. And I was like, well, then I'm out.
Yeah. Unreasonable.
Yeah.
You got like 4 minutes. We got to wrap.
Not
this
even. It's 10:59.
I know, but see the time at the top? As long
Oh,
as that doesn't
okay.
hit 2 hours, we're good.
Okay.
DJ won't start yelling. He ran on the Epstein list. Yes, big criticism that that was a double back when he said, why are you even worrying about this? That was bad look, bad politics there. We'll see if it ever gets released. The Constitution gives Congress the power to enact tariffs. Now it's an executive order. And under certain circumstances, the executive branch, it can levy, and really getting who should be and under what circumstances has been bastardized because the executive branch has overstepped their bounds, and so has the legislative, and so has the judicial. So the principle is, let's pare back all of these powers where they're overlapping, where executive order can bypass the legislature and the judicial can undermine the executive. Like, all of them are misbehaving. And so the premise is pare it all back.
Yeah.
Neuter all three
there's a lot of executive orders get signed that are not
way
necessary.
off the boundaries under certain emergency circumstances. If you're pulling the fire alarm every day, then it's not an emergency, right?
Right.
If something unforeseen happens and you pull it, totally understandable. It's something you would have not done and you've tried to not do. But if you're always pulling that fire alarm, it's just a strategy of your daily life rather than something that couldn't have been foreseen.
Yeah.
Carter says, another great show. Thank you, Carter.
Thanks,
all they have
Carter.
is Trump bad doesn't work. And you're absolutely right. And I hope a lot of the Democrats who dance with us in the mornings here really see that the status quo on your arguments are eroding, right? Reasonable. Like, you have 60% of the people in the middle that will, every once in a while, when you tell them something, they'll get fearful and they'll go along with it, and you can draw them in. Once you lose them, you are sunk. So you couple with being unreasonable, being hate-filled, eroding the Democrats, being able to fund money into NGOs and media, having illegal immigrants being your voter base for redistricting for Democrat, strongholds, as well as just being individual voters. Like, all of this stuff says that Democrats are going to have a really bad time in the future. So you need to really step back a little bit, be a little bit more reasonable, let go some of the anger that you have towards this administration, and look more for the American spirit, the patriots. So when you're driving by Kelin's house and she has an American flag, do you want to alienate Kelin to never in a million years vote for you? Because that's you, someone who was so rage-filled that they screamed that you hate Big Bird because you have an American flag. That's a losing strategy.
Yeah, it wasn't Trump or Biden or anybody in the White House that made me change my mind. It was the people.
Yep, absolutely. So do a better job, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook.